Friday morning. How's everybody doing? Hope you guys liked that interview on Wednesday that we showed Ron and Rosie Smith. Just some of the best people. We just had a blast with them. We want to get down there and see them again before they leave back to Oregon. But today's video is going to be about finishing these signs. I don't know if you can see these signs on camera right now, but basically these are, I've been doing these for this this restaurant that orders these for their new restaurants that they open. And you know, if you guys know anything about the restaurant business, constantly like changing managers and different things and chefs and all that. And I started making these for this specific restaurant, Saddle Ranch restaurant chain. They're based out of Southern California, I think, but I started making these for them several years ago. I think this is like the 40th order from them. 40, or it's in the 40s, 40, 41, 42. I keep track of how many times they've ordered. And it's real nice money for me. So you know, for those of you that think that I just teach about sign carving and I'm not selling any, I don't sell as many as I used to, but I'm definitely still in the sign business, selling signs. And actually, these are pretty good money for me. I'm getting 140 a piece for these. So even at that, they keep ordering them, and it's actually pretty good money. So, but what I want to do today is I want a new finishing process. We got a new, brand new spray gun that was actually, these people contacted us when we were in Atlanta at Workbench Con, and I've been playing around a little bit with their spray gun. I want to show it to you. So we're going to tear this down and then go on to finishing one of these signs right on camera. So we'll be right back. All right, you guys, we are back. So here's the deal. This is the company, this HOMERIGHT was actually one of the sponsors. They had a vendor booth at Workbench Con, and we kind of watched them do a demo with this thing. Vicky actually saw it before I did and then called me over. You guys know how sold I am on the critter sprayer, and I still love the critter sprayer. But I'm going to give this a shot. I've been playing with it a little bit. The cool thing about this, number one, it stands up by itself. That's a really good deal, because the critter sprayer gets kind of iffy if you've just got the small jar on. The other cool thing is there's no compressor needed. This thing has got a built-in compressor. All you do is plug it in. You plug it in and you're good to go. So what I've got in here right now is the Helmsman in, you know, out of the gallon can. I just didn't want to show the gallon can, but that's what I've got in here right now. That's what I'm going to spray on these signs. Now let me show you another thing that I really liked about this is, number one, it had a quick reference guide. The rest of this, I haven't even opened it yet. I like quick reference guides. I'm all about that. So it explained it really cool. I liked that. And this deal is pretty neat because they have, you can see in here, I've got a red tip.
That's blue.
Blue tip. I was just looking at the red tip. See, this thing is just kind of spring-loaded. So all you do, depending on the material that you're going to be spraying, you just put a different tip in there. And it's just a matter of using this little wrench and then the other end of the wrench to take out the needle thing, whatever that is. That's the technical term, the needle thing. Anyway, so it gives you a chart right here that tells you,
move it.
Huh?
Don't move it.
Don't move it. Tells you, you know, what color tip you want for what you're spraying. If you're spraying, the different materials here. I'm reading upside down. I have looked at this, honestly, I have. So, you know, depending on how thick of stuff you're spraying, you put in a different color tip, which makes it kind of cool. Nice and super easy and simple, which it has to be in order for me to understand. So, anyway, I picked the tip, the blue tip, because I'm going to be spraying a polyurethane or a spar urethane. So that's the reason I picked the blue tip. I think when I got it, it had the green tip in it. So you just put that in place, and then you just put this on. Kind of cool. And then this, depending on how you want the pattern to look, you turn that. I still have to reference that a little bit. It told me, and when I sprayed the other day, it worked out really well. But this is adjustable however you want the pattern to go. So I wanted to kind of go over that. What's that?
What's that?
The brush, I guess, is to clean things out. That wasn't in the quick reference guide. If you want to know what the brush is for, if you've got a little tiny baby and you have a small bottle brush, you can use it for that. Or if you've got problems with your belly button limp, there you go. Anyway, so I don't know. That's later on in the book. I haven't got there yet. So I'm learning. This is obviously, you can seal up whatever materials that you have in there. And Vicki was asking, I'm assuming you could probably buy extra containers if you want to just switch containers, which would be really handy for having not having to pour this out and having thinner in one and then just being able to swap them out and spray it and clean it, which would make it really cool. Now, I did spray sanding sealer with this the other day. That's what I tested it with, and I had a different tip in there. I think I had the blue. No, I guess I had the orange tip in there. No, I didn't. I must have used the blue one. Anyway, it worked out really good. I just took this off, dumped it out, and with the sanding sealer, it's water-based. So then I just cleaned it out with water, and I left it alone. It was pretty cool. Not quite as easy as a critter sprayer, but it does have some advantages. So anyway, now what we're going to do is we're going to tear this all down and we're going to set up, and now we're going to spray. Okay, so here's another thing that the company did, and I don't know what it costs for one of these, but this is, normally we would be spraying outside right now, but it's windy outside, and this is like a little portable spray booth. This folds up like your sunscreens in your car, which I can't do that either. So I'm sure there's a video somewhere that shows you how to do it. Right now it's like folding up a fitted sheet for me. But anyway, so this is again the spray shelter, and then they have they have a bigger version that Vicki says sleeps 4.
It's massive.
It's basically a tent, is what it is. So
and it has the vented.
Yeah, it's got vent. This has got a vent in the back, which is really cool.
Mesh thing.
Yeah, and the bigger version of this, literally, I'm not lying, guys. We could not put it together in here. The poles are like 14 foot long. It's like a tent. Anyway, we've got that, and but we couldn't put it together outside because it was windy. So we figured, well, we'll just spray inside. That's what this is for.
It has tent stakes to hold it down.
Yeah, it's got tent. It has to. I mean, the thing is huge. Anyway, so here's what we're going to do. So the first thing that, in case I haven't showed this before, when we're putting a finish on this, I put this. This has got the spray stain on it. Okay, so that's that Krylon spray stain, which I don't have any in here right now. But I made this out of pine, and it's the cedar color spray stain. But anytime you put something on there, it causes the grain to stand up. So I'm just taking some 220 sandpaper, just lightly sanding the top, it just kind of make it nice and smooth. So that's all this is just a piece of 220 sandpaper. So now I'll blow that off. Now, what I'm going to do is put my Lazy Susan in here. I've just got a couple little sticks so I don't get black all over the back of the sign or the front of the sign. And we are going to always spray the back first. I want to make sure it will spin. It appears that it does. And so here is our sprayer.
Can you move that kind of Lazy Susan just
more to the left? Mm-hmm. To my left, I guess?
Not the whole thing, just the Lazy Susan.
All right.
Here we go with the instructions.
The whole
again.
Sideways thing again? Are we going to go through that again?
There we go.
Now, I got to make sure it'll spin, though. Oh, see, it hits the sidewall. So I've got to move my...
There you go.
I don't want that thing hitting the sidewall at all.
Well, you can move it over that way a little bit, yeah.
Thank you. It's still hitting the sidewall, but I can move it a little bit more. This is so much fun. All right, now I think, are we good there?
We're good.
We're good here?
We're
We're
good
good there. Thumbs up. All right, so let me plug in my sprayer. Again, the cool thing, one of the big things I like about this, no compressor needed. You don't have to worry about you know, having an air hose and all that. Now it does have a minus and a plus right here, and based on how it sprays, you can adjust that up or down. So I don't know. As soon as you pull the trigger, it goes on. You can hear that. Magnum heard it too. And then when you pull the trigger farther, that's when the material comes out. So let's see what happens here. Yeah, I don't see any.
Probably just has to get up in through.
Yeah, it's got to get up in there. Let me test this. Sorry about that. There it goes. I'm adjusting. You guys are learning with me. There it goes. Now we got some material coming out. Of course, we got sawdust flying around too, but good thing this isn't a piece of fine furniture. It's a sign. All right, let's see. I'm going to take it up a little bit more. See what happens. There's definitely some on there.
Let me see it shiny.
Ooh boy, yeah it is. So now I got to do the edges. I need to turn my fan, I think, going the other direction. Spraying pretty heavy right now. There it be.
All right, let me get closer.
Now I can tip it up if you'd like.
No, don't touch it. No touchy.
Yeah. Now, obviously, guys, the best situation is to be outside where you don't have these fumes blowing around, and you know you don't have any wind, hopefully. But honestly, I got to tell you, I'm kind of impressed. I'm still learning this whole thing, but I got to say, so far, I'm kind of impressed with this this Finish Max Super made by HOMERIGHT. So I think what we're going to do is I'm gonna spray the other two off camera. I'm going to get them setting in the drying cabinet, and then we'll come back and we'll wrap this up. All right, guys, I want to give you a little bit better idea of how this thing sprays. It was kind of tough to tell on that flat. And again, you can adjust it up or down. I adjusted it kind of down. I might have gone down a little bit too far. I'm going to actually adjust it up just a little bit. Yeah. All right. There we go. That's what I wanted to show. All right. So let me get this set aside. So, guys, I tend not to endorse stuff until I try them, which is the reason I wanted to actually do this. I'm going to play around with this more. I'm not totally set on it yet, but I'm liking what I'm using right now, what I'm seeing. It's pretty easy, pretty simple to figure out. Again, especially if you've got electricity but you don't have a compressor, man, this might be the way to go. Everything about it so far, changing those tips and all that, I haven't cleaned it yet out of here, but what my plan is just to dump this back in the can, put thinner in there, and run some thinner through it and be done with it. When we talked to the ladies that were running the booth at Workbench Con, they said that you don't have to clean that nozzle and take all of that stuff out of the tip every time. So I'm probably just going to leave it because I still got 2 more coats that I want to put on those signs. So I'm probably just going to leave it.
Another sign you're doing too.
And I've got another sign order that I'm doing that I'm going to use this for. So I'm probably just going to leave this in here for several days. Well, I'm not going to clean out the tip. I am going to clean this out with thinner today. But I'm probably just going to go ahead and leave this, use this material over again. But anyway, so far I really like it. I can't completely endorse it yet, but you guys might go online and they might have some videos on it. I haven't checked that out too. I'm sure they probably do. But anyway, super happy with it so far. So anyway, guys, hope this was helpful. Oh, by the way, coming up right now, another story from Dad. So another story that I filmed when Ryan was here. So hope you like this, guys. Have a great weekend, and we will see you on Monday. Bye-bye. All right.
Well, what do you know? We're back.
We had just shut the camera off, and we were kind of wrapping things
This
up.
is years later. We just happen to be wearing the same clothes. But this is years
Weird.
later.
Yeah, deja vu. Anyways, so then Dad started talking about another...
Somebody, one of them asked me about telling a story to my great-grandkids, and it just popped into my mind that I've been sort of business-minded all my life, and my first recollection of earning money came when I was about 6 or 7 years old. We lived in Salem, Oregon, we lived beside what they call a yard, a gathering yard for freight trains and for trains in general. And where we were, they would bring train car loads of logs, huge logs that were going to the lumber mill, actually going to the pulp mill in Salem. And when a train engine humps a car, it just means that they're jerking the car back and forth. And when they would do that with these big train cars loaded with logs, it's just like you see a log truck. Well, these train cars were loaded the same way. But when they humped these cars, like when they banged into each other, these logs would shift slightly, and big chunks of bark would fall off the side of the log, and they would fall down off of the car. And back in those days, when I was 6 years old, that means that's 78 years ago. It's a long time. I was about, I was born in 1940, 41. I can remember, it was 41 because I can remember FDR was president. Anyway, the bark that fell off of these trees was really good for firewood. And firewood sometimes was kind of hard to come by. So my brother and I, my brother Jim, who's a couple of years older than I am, he's still up in Washington. I talked to him on his birthday last year. Anyway, we would take a wagon, a little red wagon out, and we would load up those pieces of bark, those big chunks of bark, and we would bring them home, and we'd break them up and put them in gunny sacks. I don't know if you know what a gunny sack is. It's a burlap bag. And we used to get those burlap bags at the cannery, which was about 6 or 8 blocks away from our house. And we would go down at night and borrow those burlap bags. And we would bring them home, and then the chunks of bark that we did, some of them as big as this table, we'd break them up and put them in these bags. Then we would take 10 or 12 or 15 of these bags, put them on the wagon, and just tow them around the neighborhood. We would sell them for 50 cents a piece for firewood. And people really loved them because they burned for a long time. They were off of these huge trees come out of the forest. So that was my first recollection of being an entrepreneur. I was 6 and 7 years old. My brother was 9. And we would take the bark that fell off of these trees, off of these cars, put them in bags and sell them. And that's the way we made money. And as a matter of fact, a lot of times we would make, $3 or $4 or $5 a day And
That's big money back then.
yeah, my mom was working as a waitress for like 35 cents an hour in tips. There were days that I would make more selling that bark that I drug off of those railroad tracks than she would make working 8 hours a day in a restaurant. So.
Yeah.